Hi, family. I'm Tony, a recovered food addict. I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet. Right in my phone. Call my Hansel sponsor at 9:40 p.m. every night. Don't eat no matter what, and eat no matter what. Meaning, since I came to Gray Sheet, I'm never hungry. Welcome to everyone that's new. Welcome to everybody that's doing this with me, and welcome to all the old timers that came before me and was able to pave the road of happy destiny, because that's basically what I have today. So I don't really have any pictures that I could show because you're supposed to keep your video on, but I have a picture here. I was around a large man. I was 400 plus pounds. I had sleep apnea. I had diabetes. I can't see my feet, much less anything else below my belly. I had neuropathy in my legs. I was a mess. And I was that way for a very long time. I'm 62 years young. I'm sober 35 plus years. My abstinence date is February 11th, 2018. Woohoo! Nobody's more surprised than I am, let me tell you, because I don't know. I had no idea. I had no idea I would do this for a day, much less, 5 plus years. I came into OA many, many moons ago, and I lost a couple 100 pounds, lost 100, gained 100, lost 100, gained 100. Could never stay stopped, because why? Because it's not this here clear cut directions. You know, GreySheeters Anonymous is unbelievable. You get 3 weighed and measured meals a day, and it's or 3 cupped and measured meals a day. However you guys do it, I weigh and measure. I cupped for a month. I lost 30 pounds. I eyeballed the meal, and I was told I had to start over. And I said, "What?" It looked right. And it's like, I have broken eyes. I get it. I have broken eyes today, and I was told that I have to weigh and measure without exception. That means in restaurants, that means in the ball fields, that means in concerts, that means in Broadway shows, wherever you are. For the rest of just for today, it's for the rest of your life, but just for today, we weigh and measure without exception. I didn't get that in the beginning. I get it today. So where I grew up in Babylon Village. It was 9 houses. We were all related. And if you love me, you fed me. So I go house to house to house and get a little something, something. When the lights come on, my mom would scream dinner time. We come home, and as long as we ate everything on our plate, we got dessert. What a concept, right? Growing up, I never fit in. I never felt a part of. You know, when you first get sober, they're like, "Oh, you gotta speak," and I was like, "Oh my gosh." In school, I would tell this teacher, "Just give me an F, because there's no way that I could speak in front of people." Today I'm an attention whore. There's nothing I like better than A, being recorded, B, being seen, C, telling everybody and their mother that I'm speaking. You know, I don't know how or why. My parents came to all of my AA anniversaries, 35 of them, and they came to a few of my gray sheet anniversaries. And I said to my mom one day, I said, "Mom, did I not get attention as a kid?" She goes, "Nope, you got plenty of attention. You're, the oldest grandkid. My firstborn. You got a lot of attention." Like, oh, I don't know why I crave it so much today, but it is what it is, and I'm okay with it. My dad, on the other hand, doesn't really like to talk to people, and he's like, "What's wrong with you? Why do you need to talk to everybody?" I said, "I don't know, Dad. I just like people. I like to talk to people. I like to have fun. I like to laugh. I like to wear life as a loose garment, and I went to OA, and I lost weight, I gained weight, lost weight, gained weight. And then a couple of my friends from OA left, and I didn't see them for a while. And I'm like, I wonder where they went. So I was on a retreat one time in Queens. I saw this guy who's fat like me. I got a ABC painting company. That's why hence I call myself Tony ABC. Um, and I gave him a sweatshirt. Like, we exchanged numbers, and I saw him again like 10 years later, and he was a normal sized dude. I says, "Hey, what's going on? You new?" He goes, "No, I'm so and so." I said, "Yeah, sure you are. What, you get surgery, cheater?" And he's like, "No, I weigh and measure." And he gave me the pitch, and I was like, "Good for you. I go to OA." He's like, "Okay." But he planted that mustard seed of hope. What's hope stand for? Hold on, pain ends, hearing other people's experiences, happy our program exists. You know, my drug of choice was more, 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 more. I don't have one tattoo, and I'm covered in tattoos. I don't have one ABC t-shirt or sweatshirt. I have probably 100. I have, I don't have one colored pen. I have every color and the friggin' and then and then more. It's my drug of choice is more. The bottom line. So he planted that seed on February 26th. That was 10 minutes. I better talk faster. Unmute yourself. I can't hear you. I don't read hands.
You got 10 minutes left.
Oh, awesome. Thanks so much, love. So let's see. February 26, 2014, I have a massive pulmonary embolism in my driveway. I remember I was going to meet my guys. I pissed my pants and I was like, oh God. And I felt myself pass out. I fell out of the truck. That day, I would love to say that day changed my life, but it took me a little while after that before I came in. So, you know, once that happens, now you're going to have a plethora of doctors, you know. And I remember my tenant found me. She's like, you all right? I said, where am I? She said, you're in the driveway. I said, I'm probably not all right. She's like, you want me to call somebody? I'm like, no, I want to be nice. And I knew that. You know, I got to the hospital and they were like, what happened? I said, I was shoveling my driveway. I pissed my pants and I passed out. I don't know, figure it out. I'm a painter. Aren't you a doctor? And they're like, oh, God, we got a live one here. So, you know, they did a bunch of tests. And I remember the cardiologist rushing me to the ICU. He's like, you're in really bad shape. You're probably going to die. And I'm like, come on, doc. Rounds of shape. He didn't laugh. You know, and I got to the ICU, and now they're working on me like a car, like in a pit crew. Like all these doctors and nurses. And I remember the ICU nurses coming in and say, you have any idea how lucky you are to be alive? And I was like, not really. I mean, whatever. I'm fat. I mean, how lucky am I? I mean, whatever. And, you know, like most people that have this, that, you know, my whole right side of my lungs was clogged with blood clots, and I had a big clot behind my left knee. You know, like most people that this happens to never wake up. That night, the surgeon came in. He's like, okay, you're in really bad shape. You're probably going to die. I says, oh, for God's sake. People are going to die, so be it. If not, fix me. So he's like, all right, we're going to shoot a clot buster through you. It kills 5 to 10% of the people instantly. And I just laughed out loud. I could see myself laughing now. Like, come on, doc, really? But whatever, they do it. I sign the paper. They do it. I live. 2 weeks later, I get out of the hospital. Now I'm scared. I forgot about Gray Sheet because, you know, it was just like a little mustard seed of hope. A little mustard seed was planted, but I just didn't remember. And I remember I went back to OA and I painted an Italian restaurant. You know, I went back to OA, and when that year I left the hospital, I lost 80 pounds. So that was what, 2014, 2015, I'm down 80 pounds. And now I go and I paint an Italian restaurant. I go to their soft opening and I start eating what they serve. So the 80 pounds I lost, I found with interest. I kept that on for another couple of years. It wasn't until 2017, January, I I went with a friend to a Gray Sheet meeting, and I was like, all right, contempt prior investigation. I really didn't want to go because, you know, I like being fat, said no one. And I went to the meeting, and I bought the Gray Sheet 12 and 12, and I was like, wow, they wrote a book about me, you know, and that's when I cupped for a month and then whatever, and I relapsed, and I left for a year, and I came back. I remember I went to the pulmonologist, and he's like, can I shake your hand? I said, why is that? He said, you're a medical mystery. You should have died. There's no reason why you woke up. I'm like, I'm sober 26 years. What do you mean? Why? God don't make junk. God don't take us before we're ready to, you know, spread the word. I really had no idea that someday I would lose half my body weight. I really had no idea that someday I'd be speaking every time anybody reaches out for help. I want the hand of whatever fellowship I represent to be there, but I am responsible. I like to have fun. I like to kid around. It took me 19 years to have a spiritual experience in AA. It only took me less than 2 years to have a spiritual experience in Gray Sheet. If I would have waited 19 years, I probably would have killed you or killed myself. Again, when I first came into Gray Sheet, well, the second time I came into Gray Sheet, I remember I called that guy from Queens. He told me to meet him in Mineola. I go, Mineola? I live at Bayshore. I'm not driving all the way to Mineola. Like, there's not a lot of Gray Sheet meetings. Just meet me. So I went, and I was that guy. You know, real quick, I'll stop my video. I was that guy. I walked in that meeting, and I was that guy on the left. And I was like, oh my God, look at everybody in Gray Sheet. Everybody in Gray Sheet's like a normal size, unless you're new. If you're new, no offense, you're a fat bastard, just like me. Because I could never stay stopped. I could never stay, you know, I had 3 gym memberships at one time. I always rode bicycles. I was always out there doing something. People would take me for walks like I was a dog. You know, having the 3 gym memberships and going to the gym and not getting out of the car. It's like coming to a 12-step program and not doing the steps. You know, there's a lot of people that come in here. There's a lot of people that don't even know Gray Sheet has a 12 and 12, has their own book, you know, living abstinent, you know, and It is what it is, man. I can't never pay back GreySheet what is so freely given me. My sponsor said you're gonna call me at this time, and not a minute before, not a minute after. I, on the other hand, am very flexible. I don't care when people call me. I sponsor a lot of people, but I have boundaries today. You can't talk to me for an hour at a time, because if I talk to everybody for an hour at a time, I don't have time to sleep. So, give me your food, let me know what's going on, get to know each other and move on. Boundaries is like self-love. Self-love is, making food in advance. When I first came in, I was like making one meal at a time. I was like, oh, this is like watching paint dry. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with this. And then I don't know how, I was like, you know what? Let me make 10 breakfasts and 10 lunches. And now I make 2 weeks worth of breakfasts and 10 lunches. So when I go to work, I just grab a breakfast and a lunch, and I only got to fend for myself for supper. Oh my God, why do people gotta call me? 4 more minutes. And yeah. So what do I do? What do I do to stay abstinent? I do this. I do service. I call people. I have a plethora of people that call me. I go to meetings. I go to live meetings. I go to conventions. I go to retreats. Um, After COVID, we had a men's get together at my house. I have a beautiful. I can't even believe I have the house that I live in. Actually, tomorrow will be 13 years that I own this house. I did a lot of work in 13 years. I got a koi pond in my backyard, I got a waterfall. I got 20 koi fish in there. I got 3 barbecues. I got a beautiful patio. We had a meeting here, and we had a hybrid. We had a men's meeting. People came from afar. It was pretty cool. Then one of the gentlemen got an idea. He's like, "Why don't we start a men's retreat?" We had that last year in Jersey, and this year in Lloyd Harbor, in Huntington, and I know you guys are probably sick of hearing it. Dave announces it at every freaking meeting. I'm sorry, he's going to be announcing it, probably for the rest of his life. But it is what it is, because that's what we do. Fellowship is where it's at. Fellowship and just helping the next sick and suffering. And we are very sick and suffering, me and Dave. No, I am so freaking blessed. I was on the meeting this morning, and Laura's like, "I need a speaker for today." I said, "I'll do it." Always. And I live in Bayshore. We're doing a job in Sag Harbor. It's about an hour away. It took about an hour and 10 minutes to get there. I went to the job this morning, dropped off some material, and I said to my guys, I said, "Well, gotta go." They're like, "All right, bye." And I drove home. So I spent like 2.5 hours in the car. I could have just stayed home, but I didn't. I went to work for a little bit, and I came here to share with you guys. Because that's anytime anybody reaches out for help. Never look down on a person unless you're helping them up. God's everything or he's nothing. I remember when I first came in, my sponsor tried to instill in my head, "So who's doing this for you?" I said, "What do you mean, who's doing this? I'm doing this. I'm shopping. I'm chopping. I'm cooking. What do you mean, who's doing this?" He says, "God. God is everything or he's nothing." I was like, "Oh, all right." And if you don't believe in God, that's okay too, because it could be good orderly direction, group of drunks, gift of desperation. You just got to believe that you're not God, and I know I'm not God, and I believe, period. I believe, but my God has saved my life. I had a gun in my mouth. I was going to blow my brains out when I got sober. God gave me, I don't want to say God did it, but I ate myself to a pulmonary embolism and almost died. And it's amazing. It's an amazing. And you want to talk about attention? Oh my God! When I was in the hospital, 1 minute. When I was in the hospital, I had this older gentleman was in the hospital with me, and he goes, "Who are you?" I started laughing. I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I've never seen so many visitors in my life." And my mom would say the same thing. She goes, "I don't even know that many people." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. I helped a lot of people in recovery get sober, and I guess this is what we do. We show up for each other. You know what I mean?" So again, if you're new or you're just coming back, just stay. Please share at every meeting. Only thing I ask of my sponsees is to call 3 people a day, physically get in touch with 3 people a day, and get to a meeting every day. Did you compulsively overeat every day? Yes. Did I? Yes. So simple, simple, simple. And if you put your phone number in the chat and don't have any intention of answering the phone, please don't put your phone number in the chat. When people call me, I answer the phone. And if I don't, it's because I'm out of service. I work in these crazy, ginormous houses, and they got no cell service. But it is what it is. I spoke as fast as I could. Nobody told you I love you today. I love you. Thanks for saving my life. Living in faith every day. Peace.